Okay, I'm back now. What I did is I went and got this. It's just groups the tips tighter, and it's a blow pin from an injection molding, blow molding deal. That I don't doubt if anybody's gonna be able to find one unless you work in injection blow molding, which I don't. I work in molding, but not injection blow molding. But you can grab anything that can group those a little bit tighter, and that's the good thing about making custom needles, because you don't have to worry about what the Chinese are giving you or what somebody that you're ordering online. You can actually make your own grouping and make your own tightness. You're loose, make them loose or tight, whatever you want. So there we go. Let's let that. Some more flux on there. And as you learn how to make these more, you could customize them a little bit into your liking. So you pull that off, and you see the tip there. It's pretty decent. You don't want them really tight because it won't make a good line, so you want them slightly loose, enough to where you can barely see daylight through them. You don't want them any tighter or any looser than that or tighter than that. If it's looser, then it becomes a shading needle. If it's tighter, then it doesn't really work that great. So you're going to be stretching the skin when you're tattooing anyways, and you can make these little microscopic lines come together. Let's say if you do them too loose, you're going to end up having 3 to 4 lines instead of one single dark line. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to get our bar ready here, prepare our bar, and take this back off here. We already cleaned it. We're going to clean it one more time, just in good measure. Thumb width is good. There, you don't need any more. Anything else is pretty much a waste of energy. Okay, and we're going to put some. I got solder flux here, or solder flux paste here, which is not the greatest. Better get the Stay Clean or Ruby liquid, but I got to deal with what I got. So. I'm going to put that in, opening facing down, open our guillotine here, get our needles flat side, and put some solder on and prepare that. Already put some flux, I'm sorry. Already put the flux on the bar, put the flux on the needle. This has a line up deal, a valley at the front to keep it all lined up so that it makes the needle straight. Keep them about that far. Let's see. Make sure the needle's on top and the bar's on the bottom, and we'll put the solder on the sides. This is stainless steel solder, no lead. It is nice and hot. Hit the sides over here. Put the pressure on the bar, not on the needles, so you can line it up correctly. Put too much pressure on the bar, or too much pressure on the needles, then they'll move out of place. The smoke stinks, you don't want to breathe too much of it. Okay, so now what you do is you open up the guillotine here and take this out. Let it cool a bit. Take it right out, it might be too hot still.
Yes.
Now you have a needle soldered on the end of the bar. It's kind of dirty because all the flux and stuff coming out of there. You see this is pretty good here. So now get this stuff out of the way. What you end up having is your bar here is soldered on. In time you'll learn how to make hopefully better solder joints than I do, but these never come off, so I'm not really worried about it as long as I get all the junk out of it. One last thing is make a solution of water, 4 ounces of water to 1 tablespoon of baking soda, and it'll neutralize all the flux that's in here, so you can get it cleaned up a lot better than after you clean it with a toothbrush really good with some antibacterial and all that. Then you can go ahead and put them in a autoclave and sterilize them. They're not sterilized right now, so you can't use them. You gotta sterilize everything before you use it. Alright, and that's it. Okay, I'm back. Just wanted to show you, here's my liner. I'll kind of explain to you about this one, how it's set up, how this one runs. And then here's my shader. It's at 12 wraps. This is, I believe, 10 wraps. These are 12 wraps. I made these myself. The coils I made myself. The gun frame I made myself. I borrowed this part off another wasp that I had, and I borrowed the contact up there in the spring. And the yoke I made myself. It's a pretty cool little gun. It's all brass. It was machined out with the mill. Solid, so it wasn't poured or anything like that. This one does not have an adjustable yoke. It has a brass screw to hold this thing on, which I gotta fix that one day. So get a better wing nut on here. This is a pretty good little gun. It did its job, over 8 years or so. It's not too bad. When you tattoo, you're going to want to use a liner and a shader. You don't really want to use a liner to do shading because you're going to be adjusting it too much. You're going to lose your adjustments, and it's just a pain in the butt. You don't want to have people waiting while you're there in pain and you're trying to adjust your gun and fiddle around with it. You don't really want to be touching the tops here while you're tattooing. You usually have bags over it, and you just don't want to get inks and whatever else. You shouldn't really have much blood at all while you're doing a tattoo. But you can have plasmas and stuff like that that you can't see that you can get into onto your gun, and then not very smart idea to sterilize these. You could, but you're just asking for a little bit of problems here with all this plastic stuff on it that can melt it, because you got to go pretty high up on the autoclaves. What else? I prefer a little bit of a heavier gun. With the lighter guns, your hand could shake a little. The little heavier guns kind of, it's a lot longer it's a lot more on your hand, but I think it's worth it. And hold on one second. One last thing. One more important thing. So we're talking about these liner setups and setting up your tattoo needle length and all that. And we said that you put your solder at the bottom. We're setting up that gun again. just for one last, I want to explain something to you. Push that on there like so, and put your rubber bands over. Okay, remember we said that we're gonna, to set this gun up, we're gonna press on the spring, hold it down, the down position, solder on the back. We're gonna bring the needle up so you can see it. Then we're gonna go ahead and just push it back in a little and bring it out about a millimeter. Okay, remember we said that, right? Okay, well then we're gonna tighten our gun up with the spring held down. Okay, the reason why I do it this way is I've seen a lot of people, a lot of new guys tattoo, and a lot of the old guys do too. But what they do is they have this needle out too far so that they follow the needle. And it's kind of, in my opinion, I'm pretty sure you can learn how to do it and you can get the technique down, but to me it just makes more sense to have this out a millimeter. And on the square, on the diamond shape here, you can actually see the two top and bottom triangles. It's a triangle that way. You see one corner of it at the bottom here, one corner of it at the top. You can use those to follow the lines that you need to follow, meaning that you have this out 1 millimeter, right? 1 millimeter like that, and you can see it going in and out. And then you're not going to worry about trying to tattoo and trying to hold this needle going in the same exact to get a nice perfect line. You're going to have some lines that are a little bit thicker than others. You're going to have some explosions in there that you don't want. So if you're just learning, you're going to want to have that needle out, and then 1 millimeter, then you're going to be able to push down on the skin slightly and follow it so it's like a positive stop from this end of the barrel to the needles. It kind of helps a little that you can just go ahead and do that, because then you can go ahead and press and you're not going to be scarring people up. And then if you need to, you can adjust your needle a little bit farther out, a little farther in. If you get if you're doing it in your lining and you feel a little bit of hesitation, you know you got your needles out too far. If you do it and you have no hesitation and it's hard leaving a line, then you either have not enough power or you have your needles not out enough. All right. Then that concludes this 4-needle liner tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them. All right.